So, Robert Jenrick is in trouble for saying something true about Birmingham. I recently visited Birmingham and I had exactly the same experience. You're driving around, you look out the windows and you realise, wow, they really have colonised this place, haven't they? I think it's England's second city in size, and it's, in some areas, almost entirely made up of people who are either foreign or the descendants of foreigners. These people are not the native English, and there's just no getting around that. And so when Jenrick, and what Jenrick actually said was totally milquetoast, right? This is another problem I have with the Tories. It's like, well, I mean, I can't help but notice that integration hasn't happened here. I mean, the exact phrase was literally about whether these people are properly integrated. It's like, well, Rob, their faces don't change when they integrate, but of course he said, well, it's not about the colour of your skin or your faith. He wants people to live alongside each other. It's like, well, that's not happened here, is it? Has it? This is a foreign colony on British soil, as Jenrick noticed when he was going around there. And so what can be done with it? Well, nothing. He said, I went to Handsworth in Birmingham the other day to do a video on litter, and it was absolutely appalling. It's rubbish. Litter is, I'm sure, isn't that the American word? It's as close as I've come to a slum in this country, but the other thing I noticed is that there is one of the worst integrated places I've ever been to. That's not the kind of country I want to live in. I want to live in a country where people are properly integrated. It's not about the colour of your skin or your faith. Of course it isn't. But I want people to live alongside each other, not parallel lives. Well, the thing is, Bob, we actually didn't ask for this, right? I know you were part of the Conservative government that inflicted this all upon us, in fact, but we actually didn't want this. We didn't want millions of foreigners to be invited into our country to live alongside us. And actually people just tend to move. There's a phrase for it. It's called white flight. People actually tend to move away because that's not what they wanted. And you didn't consult us. And you didn't care about us. And now you're looking at the wreckage of your own policies and you're like, wow, this is not good. It's like, well, did you just allow millions of foreigners to come here without any controls over where they can live and what they can do when they're here? If the answer's yes, Bob, then it's your fault, isn't it? The BBC went to Handsworth in Birmingham and interviewed some of the locals. You're going to be shocked to hear that they couldn't find a white person, an English person, to actually interview. But they did find Rani Rauji, an obviously Indian woman, who said, quote, you don't have to be white to be English. Well, I'm sorry, I actually don't care about your opinion on that. I'm not actually taking instruction from you on who is and is not English. You're not English. Your name isn't English. Your biology isn't English. Your ancestry isn't English. I don't care about your opinion on whether you think you're English or not. But the funniest thing about this, they did find one white woman. Look at that. But the funniest thing about this was this chap, Marij Khan, who was like, no, I'm not offended by his words. They're true. That's literally, he said the area was a slum and I'm not offended by the comments because they're true. He said he only saw black and Asian people, adding, I never saw a white face around here. There were, however, white people living in the area, but they tended not to be British. Oh, just great. For the area's appearance, he added there was garbage everywhere, with multiple people living in single houses, sometimes 3 or 4 families in one property. Khan stated that if there was integration in the area, you would see faces of every other colour. So, oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. And what I love about this is another guy called Dave suggested that different communities kept themselves to themselves, but there was no trouble. So it's segregated. So it is a very diverse area where everyone keeps to themselves, even the European immigrants, because nobody really wants to live around people who they're not like. And the only honest guy there is this chap who's like, well, yeah, it's been diversified out of all the English people in this area, and it's a shithole. And, I mean, you can look at the ethnicity map to see that, right? So this is Birmingham, this is Handsworth. Only about 10% of the people there are actually English. And if you drill in further, you find areas that are like 5%, 4%, 7%, 27% in that one. Ooh, look at that, a stronghold. 7, 8, 15, 6. Like this is as diversified as you could possibly expect something to be. There are some places that are slightly more diverse, meaning they have 0%, but they're really relatively small at the moment. But the point being, you can just watch, just look at the street. Like, this is a guy who is showing a video from Soho Road in Handsworth from a few years ago. And you can just see it. We have, for some reason, allowed the nomads of globalism to just come to our country, choose an area, and set up colonies in this area where they keep to themselves because they don't want to be with the others. And so you've got a foreign district that just exists here for some reason. Why are we giving up areas of our country to people who have their own countries? These people come from somewhere. They actually belong somewhere. And for some reason, we're like, well, you know what this is? GDP. This is diversity. This is our strength. This is what Britain will look like. And that's the thing about all of this. Everyone took this so badly because essentially Birmingham is the model for the future that they're expecting. They think this country will be one giant Birmingham by the time that they are done. And man, I just don't want this. I just don't want this. These people should go home. They have countries that they come from, which is why they all look so different from one another. They belong somewhere else. Anyway, obviously Birmingham is a shithole because the council went bankrupt recently, because the council is basically, this is going to shock you. It's going to absolutely shock you. But it's really corrupt, and the councillors are just treating the city like a fucking slush fund to siphon out money from, and therefore things didn't get paid for, and therefore the council went bankrupt, and therefore the rubbish stopped getting picked up, for example. And it got so bad that it became visible from space, apparently. Now, probably an exaggeration, but the point is, this is not how any city in England should be, right? It shouldn't be filled with foreigners who bring corruption with them and end up ruining the place because they just don't care. They just don't care. This is what they do in their own countries, and they just don't care about their own countries. So why would you expect the behaviour to be any different when they're here? This is just completely normal for India or wherever, anywhere in Africa. It's just completely normal for these places to look this way. And of course, I mean, there are areas you want to avoid. Oh, number 3 on that list is Handsworth, by the way. Bordering the west of Birchfield, Handsworth is one of the most densely populated areas of the city. Its crime rate sits at 194 crimes per 1,000 people. Jesus Christ! And experienced 2,000 crimes last year. I mean, that is absolutely crazy, isn't it? Like, 1 in 5 people have committed a crime by at least that sort of number in Handsworth. Now, of course, it's not going to be 1 in 5. It's going to be 5% of the population committing almost all of the crimes. But the point is, not a good place to live, actually. Weirdly enough, it's one of the most violent areas in Birmingham. Which is it's literally East Handsworth policing area. It's like, this is not good. This is not the model for the country that I actually want. I actually don't want to invite millions and millions of foreigners, allow them to take over our entire country and turn it into this. This is really not a model of the future I want, but it's the one they want. This is what their diversity and strength looks like. And remember, they have their opinions, right? In Birmingham a couple of years ago, just no whites graffiti was appearing on walls and schools and stuff. It's like, okay, there aren't any. These areas probably don't have any whites in at all. And if they do, they're Romanians or Bulgarians or something. But this obviously went unsolved. Don't worry about that. Anyway, so remember that there's now a big defensive campaign for Handsworth in Birmingham. And it's like, sorry, it's a shithole. You can do any amount of investigation into it reveals it to be a complete shithole. And so they're like, yeah, but did you know, in the 1970s and 80s, it produced music, before it was diversified, but while it was still an English city. Black Sabbath's Tony Iommi came there. Yeah, I bet he did. What about the Soho Manufactory? It was established in 1766. Yeah, okay, yeah, in the 1800s. Yeah, I'm sure it was lovely then. Well, it probably wasn't lovely. And there were English inventors there in the 18th and 19th centuries. Yeah, sure. And look, we've got this guy, Benjamin Zephaniah, who writes anti-colonialism poetry. It's right, so it's shit. And so then you have to have Paulette Hamilton, who I can't help but notice is Jamaican of background. Says, I'm born and bred in Handsworth, represented it for 18 years as a councillor. Heard you're an expert now. Next time you're in town, I'll be delighted to give you a tour. That's great. That's great, Pauline. It's a shithole, and we can see it's a shithole, and this is not the future that we want for our country, but this is the future they want. Birmingham, my home city, says Sweaty Goodall, is a fantastic city with fantastic people. Success story. Really, Birmingham is your version of a success story. You look at Birmingham and be like, you know what? If everyone followed this model, This would be amazing. This is what I want England to be like. Incredible, right? And it's absolutely incredible. Like, I love the idea that, and honestly, that's what's been very helpful with honest Bob Jenrick here. What is good about this, though, is he is forcing them to defend what I think is the indefensible. He's forcing them to hold up Handsworth and go, yes, that's what we want for the entire country. Yes, that's what the entire liberal multicultural project was about. It was about bringing in unlimited minorities, forcing the English out, and then turning it into an absolute dystopia of groups that sit there in their closed environments, cheek by jowl, never really interacting, and treating the place as if it is literally just, it's a rubbish dump. And that is what we want for the entire country. This is the plan. This is where this was all going the whole time. And we will say it's fantastic. It's a fantastic success story. I can't believe you don't agree with all of this. It's like, no, that's good. I want you to say, yes, we are for that. And I tell you what, when you want to join the far right, folks, we're not for that. We're for the opposite of that. So, make your choice.